Hey, Tony Gaskins here. You know what? I want to talk to you about the bad boy. I have heard this several times, and a lot of women get to a place to where they old enough, wise enough, not to admit that they like the bad boy, but it's still true. And even if he wears a suit or he wears a uniform in some field, she still likes him to have that edge, like a bad boy. And to be honest with you, it's pretty misguided. It's pretty lame, but we don't see it that way. But here's the thing, and this is where you got to understand. I have a quote that I posted years ago, and it said, if you're looking for a bad boy, I want you to know that he's looking for himself too. And so, what I mean by that is, when you think about it, growing up, think about even with certain women that you've seen and maybe even yourself. It's a lot of women who may have looks, may have a body, may make great money, some may have an education, but they were with the dope boy. Think about it. You know dope boys from your city that had a girlfriend that's a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer or an executive, a supervisor, a manager. And when you think about, if you ever knew a dope boy, if you know any of them, or maybe you've been with one, and then you look at yourself like, well, who am I? Why was I with that type of person? That's I was out there in the streets and got my wife. Now she only dealt with it for a couple months to get a claws in me, and then flipped the script on me and told me I had to change my life. But when I came back to her after the first time we dated for a few months and she left me, when I came back, I was in the streets. And so she took a little bit to process and assess the situation. It probably was a month or two. And then she told me, this gonna have to go. But imagine that though. Here I am in the streets and I'm dating a biomedical science major. And I saw it with my cousins who I was in the streets with, and my friends who I was in the street with. Their girlfriends were RNs, LPNs, managers at the company, the big company in town. And I'm like, wow. So I really started to explore this thing. And then I've heard countless women say, for some reason, I like the bad boy. I don't like the nice guy. I don't like the guy that I could push over, the guy that I could run over. I like the guy that's going to check me. He going to put me in my place, He going to tell me about myself. I just like that, just that edge. It just does something for me. And you know what that is? It's daddy issues. And I remember even talking to my sister. She said, ooh, it's just something about me a thug. I just love me old thug N. I'm saying, the N word. And my daddy was a pastor for 14 years, of our life. He was just got in church, then he became an assistant pastor. He was assistant pastor for 7 years, then he opened his own church and had that for 7 years before he closed it and just went back, working, living regular life. But for 14 years, my daddy was a pastor. But my sister has only dated bad boys, thugs, that just dog you out, cheat on you, put hands on you. And so I, up close and personal, had to study this. Grateful right now she's single and doing the right thing and waiting on a good man. But I was able to watch this up close and personal. And then I also was able to be that man. And let me tell you what this is. For the women, this daddy issues. It's just you did not connect with a father in a way that showed you what a real man is, to the point that you appreciate it and you resonate with it. But instead, you were looking for something the opposite of your father. Or if you did not have a father, then that's where the bad boy comes in. Because see, the guy who is tough with you, you assume that he is tough with the world. Now, there are some men that you will see fight a man and fight a woman. He has daddy issues. He has what we would call a fragile ego. That's fragile masculinity. So when you are physically stronger than someone, if you will put hands on that person to inflict pain onto that person, then you are a weak man. And a lot of men, including myself, have gone through that. A man doesn't have to live there his whole life, but he may go through that to where, just like you see a bully in school may find the scrawny guy. The bully in school is not going to pick on the star quarterback. He going to get this scrawny guy, may wear glasses, may be frail, may be quiet, introvert, scary, just nervous, socially awkward, social anxiety, have all these different things going on, and then he want to pick on him. That's because his daddy is either absent or his daddy whooping his behind. So that's why the bully come and do what he does. See, it's daddy issue, just like my video the other day that said it's on the men. This what this comes from. And so what I've noticed is that a lot of women, you want the bad boy, because to you that represents security. You think that, okay, if he the big bad wolf, if he's tough, then he can protect me. So I've heard women say, I can't be with a man that's shorter than me because I don't feel protected. And it's all of these things that's just misguided. And you don't understand what a real man is. And it has nothing to do with his stature. It has nothing to do with his status. It has nothing to do with how tough he appears or how confident he appears. It really comes down to understanding that a man's strength is in his gentleness. I remember when I had a motivational quote app and I would read quotes every day. I saw a quote. I don't remember the author's name, but it said, a man's strength is in his gentleness. And I bet it was a real man who wrote that. And what I came to find out is that the toughest men are the gentlest men with their wives and their children, sons and daughters. The toughest men, the men who will snap you in half, and when they have to, not just because they want to. These men are actually men who will walk away from a confrontation. These are men who try to avoid confrontation. They depicted it very well when they used to depict the Bruce Lee movies. When you watch like The Last Dragon, or you watch like these Wild Wild West, you always see this guy, this man in there, whether he a gunslinger, whether he a kung fu master or what have you, or a street brawler. You always see this guy, he's like, in these movies, if you ever watch these action movies, and he's like, no. That's not what you want. Trust me, it's not what you want. Like Liam Neeson in Taken. It's not what you want. Don't make me do this. And then the guy, what are you gonna do? Come on, let's go. And then the guy come on in there, and then boom, this guy fold him up just like that. See, that type of man, when you see him, you may think he's soft. You may think he's weak. You may think he's not confident. Look at Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee wasn't 6'4". Bruce Lee wasn't 6'4", but who you think gonna put hands to him? Who you think gonna put hands to him? But so imagine if a woman saying, oh, I can't be with a man who's short because I don't feel secure. So your 6'4" man come up with his fragile ego. He want to get loud with Bruce Lee. So here you will feeling good. You mess with the wrong one today. We're going to see how this work. Ooh, you little 5'8" shrimp. Watch how this work out. And then this man with Bruce Lee abilities break your 6'4" man apple in half with one hit. And your baby help me. And you like, what? Yeah. When I grew up, it was the 5'8" men that was the toughest. It was the men who was the smallest guys, was the toughest guys on the football field, on the basketball court, and in the streets fighting. I remember when my sister was with a thief. He done got out of prison now after doing 15 years. And I remember she told me she used to watch him fight. He used to get in fights all the time. She said, Tony, he never lost a fight. I never seen this man lose a fight. This man really can fight. They were number 15, 16, 17. And he was a thief. Ended up going to prison for more than a decade. And she told me that they used to sleep on the couch. And she would sleep on top of him. Now, I'm a man. I can't sleep with my wife spooning her from the back. I can't sleep like that. I gotta have my space. So can you imagine what kind of man gonna let a woman sleep on top of him? I said, is you serious? She said, yeah. I sleep on top of him because she had ran away from home and was living with him at his mama house, and they ain't had nowhere to stay. It was a small house and had 11, 12 people in there, so she slept on the couch on top of him. I said, is you serious? That was my first introduction into a real man, in the sense of a man who knows his strength. And that's when I really started to study this, because I probably was 18 at the time. And that's when I really started to study this, because I was the opposite, okay? And I started to study masculinity and see how we deal with our ego. And what happens is men will come, and the men who are tough in your eyes and got all the swag in your eyes, a lot of times those are the men who are battling the biggest demons. They battling with the most insecurity. They battling with the most trauma and pain. They going through the most behind the scenes because they crying on the inside. But a man is raised and taught that you cannot show weakness, that you cannot let anybody see you sweat. So what you do to make it, and I've been studying this, I was watching this with rappers, and I see this with rappers, and you'll see videos, and I know some rappers personally, you'll see videos of when they were 7, 8, 9 years old, elementary, middle school. And when you look at them back then, a lot of these rappers, you look at them, you like, you kind of confused. You really can't tell if he was into the little girls or if he was into the little boy. And you look at him and you like, interesting. And you know, he was putting on talent shows in the living room, doing splits. You know, you'll see these men that when they was younger, they were doing splits. They was doing cartwheels. They was, you know, in the dance troupe, you know, doing all the dances that the girls do and could do it better than the girls. But then grow up, and then next thing you know, now as an adult, he got tattoos. These men got all these tattoos. I got tattoos, but they're under my shirt. And that's why I got them, trying to look hard, trying to look cool. Didn't make no sense. It don't make no sense to sit down and let somebody put a needle on your skin with ink and cutting your skin and etching ink into your skin. That makes absolutely no sense. But why do we do it? Trying to look cool, trying to fit in, trying to look sexy, or trying to look tough. Everybody watching this with a tattoo, why you did it. Get to the root of it. You didn't do it because you just said, you know what, this makes the most sense in the world. To just sit down and endure pain and put permanent ink on my skin, that when I'm 80 years old, I can look at this old wrinkled ink with just pride and joy. That doesn't make no sense. It does not make any sense. Now I got tattoo here. Notice where I got mine, because I used to have a nice chest and I used to have a 14 pack. Okay, and I used to have nice arms. So I got mine in a place of trying to look sexy. You can't see them. See, I ain't do all this. See, the guys who get all down there, all in the face, they got a point to prove. They trying to say something. I don't know what they trying to say. Each one of them will tell you what they trying to say different. but they're saying something. But what I started to notice was the men who are the most insecure start to show out the most. Those are the ones who want to be the toughest, who want to have the most swag, who want to be the coolest. They want to put on. They want to be the street king, the kingpin. But the guy with the most confidence, the guy who understands that his strength is in his gentleness, the guy who don't have nothing to prove, those are guys that you'll see will walk alone, eat alone, won't do anything to fit in with society. So it's guys I know that got all the money in the world and don't have a single tattoo. Why? Because it don't make sense to them. It don't make sense to them. Those same guys that never put hands on a woman. Those same guys may be overlooked by women because they don't have fragile masculinity that they're showing it through trying to be tough, trying to be swaggy, trying to, whether it's getting earrings, tattoos in your face, sleeve of tattoos on your arm, big jewelry, whatever it may be. Different guys express their insecurity. Different guys express their insecurity or their pain, their childhood pain and trauma in different ways. And it's deep. It's deep. They step on a lot of toes. They step on a lot of toes because you know what? I would say 70 to 80% of men go through it. 70 to 80% of men go through it. Now see, for men, I'm gonna tell you this. If you meet a man who does not have tattoos, he off to a good start. He's off to a good start. Don't mean he a good man. Don't get me wrong. Don't mean he a good man. If you meet a man with tattoos, don't mean that he's a bad man. Doesn't mean that he's soft. Okay? But you got to look at the evidence of how things show up. Look at the evidence of how things show up. If you meet a man who has something that is a societal trend, earrings in the ear, the big beard, tattoos in the face, sleeve of tattoos down, tattoos on the hand, big jewelry, flashy jewelry, exotic flashy cars that he may not can afford, or that maybe he can afford but don't really need, but got it to make that statement. When you start to see things like this show up on guys, that's when you got to dig a little deeper. That's when you got to get into that childhood. That's when, so how was your upbringing? Were you raised single parent, double parent home? And so you got to ask it like that. See how I ask it like that? So yeah, what was life like? Like, were you raised with your mom, your dad? I'm being the woman right now, okay? Whereas with some of y'all, so tell me this. This is how some women, and y'all get a deep in your boy. So tell me this, was you raised with just your mom or your mom and your dad? You see how that's two totally different ways? So a man gonna be at alarm. He gonna put his guards up when you ask him the latter way. Now, when you ask him the first way, so yeah, what was life like? Like, were you raised with your mom, your dad? Like, what was that like? And then he tells you. So now you get into that childhood, okay? And then you may say, I really miss those days. Just like kindergarten, no bills. Like, what did you get into? Like, what were you like in kindergarten, in elementary school? Then when he says, now this the guy with all the tattoos or all the, some type of trend in society that looks tough or looks cool or looks like swag. And then he tells you, well, you know what? Ironically, I was on a dance team in elementary. Oh, you were. Now you can't really respond to it, but you just taking notes. And he might not tell you that. He might not tell you. You might go to his mama house and say, "Let me show you little Johnny. Okay, this right here when he was on the Bumblettes. It was like a little dance team, and he used to go around, and you like." Oh, really? The Bumblette? Oh, that's so cute. And then he could, Mama, what you doing? Don't show her all that. Mama, what you doing? Now, just for the record, I was never on a dance team. Okay, I was never on a dance team. I played sports all my life. I did not do talent shows, singing, rapping, dancing, doing splits. I ain't do none of that. So, but I watched this stuff happen. Okay, and I seen over the years how men start to try to find, they're not finding themselves, actually start to mask themselves, start to put on a facade because they feel that who they are is soft or weak, or when they go into the world, they will be eaten alive. But really in their heart, they may not be scared, or they may fear themselves more than they fear the world. So it may be like, I'll be honest with you, when I was growing up, one thing that I said to somebody, a friend or my dad, I said, I don't want to get in a fight because I'm afraid that if I put everything I have into a fight, that I could truly hurt somebody. And I truly meant that. And that's why I tried to avoid confrontation. You know, I got this little scar on my pinky from where I had to hit a boy in the mouth, and he happened to have braces. And it was after he kept pushing me. I was sitting down watching the game, and he kept pushing me in the back. And you know, when you push in the back and get that whiplash, and my cousins was putting them up to it. And because they knew my spirit and just how I was and easy going, try to stay out of trouble. And the boy kept pushing me. And I had to turn around and jump up on that mat because they was on a wrestling mat that was rolled up into a big circle. So we would sit on them. And I had to jump up on that mat, and I went after that boy, went to putting hands on him, and his braces cut my finger to the white meat. And it's only a few times in my life that I had to fight because I was quiet, I was cool, I was calm, and I ain't bother nobody. But I was always the best athlete, and if I wasn't the best, I was in the top 2. And so nobody didn't bother me. They respected me just because they knew my family, they knew my ability as an athlete, and so I was okay. Some men have that path, some men don't have that path. If you don't have athletics, your path gonna be tougher coming up in a place where I'm coming from. So you got athletics or you got the streets. And that's what you got to understand about men. Think about this. You got athletics or you got the streets. So what is the man in between there? A lot of people are not checking for the man that's in the band, or not checking for the man that's in the theater club. A lot of women not checking for those men. When you look in high schools and who getting the women, it ain't the guy in the band. And nothing against that. But it just goes to show you how women go through their process of selection, looking for what appears to be the strongest, most powerful, most confident man, when actually the guy in the band might be taking taekwondo lessons and could snap your boyfriend, that's the star quarterback, could snap your boyfriend in half, could hit your man with a 2-piece snack that your man won't even get back up. But you'll never assume that because of women read masculinity based on the outward appearance of a man and what a man shows. And then that's why today, I'll be honest with you, it works both ways. So you got the guy who was kind of gentle in his strength and knew his strength and had channeled his strength. It's similar to like a Clark Kent or like the boy Peter Parker who's Spider-Man. You got guys like that in real life, not with superpowers, you know, but are unassuming but very strong and confident and powerful as a man, right? So those men can grow up and they're going through life and they being overlooked because the bully over here got the big chest and the big arms and he pushing people around. So the woman think that if I get with him, I'm gonna be protected. But not knowing that one day the bully gonna meet somebody that see right through him because he was raised around bullies. And he put that bully on his behind, and then you looking crazy because your man just got exposed for actually being soft, who was fronting. So what a lot of men do is, and this is what you're gonna notice, a lot of men will as they grow into manhood, they try to get something that says to other men, don't mess with me. Don't try me. So they maybe knew a killer who had all gold teeth, or had sleeves of tattoos, or had braids, or had dreadlocks, or had the big beard, or had earring in both ears, or had big chunk chain. And so these men will go and could be soft-hearted, but go and get all those things. Go get the tattoos, the gold teeth, or diamond teeth, or the earrings, the flashy jewelry, the flashy cars. And really what it's saying, what he's trying to say is, I'm hard, I'm tough, I'm cool, I'm in the in crowd. And we literally judge people like that. So I know myself that what I'm capable of. But if I walk into a crowd and I don't have on any jewelry, and I go up to like a Freaknik, a Funk Fest, or a big event, and it's a bunch of, black men like myself, if I walk into this crowd and I don't have on any jewelry, you can't see tattoos on me, and I don't have on anything, no earrings, I don't have a big beard, I don't have no signs that say I'm affiliated, goon affiliated, I'm tough, I'm in that crowd, a man will look at me and he'll judge me. And he'll say, oh, okay, he saw. And then he'll look at genetics too. The uglier you are, the tougher you are assumed to be. And the reason being is because the world has been harder on you, so it has hardened you. So you notice when you look at somebody that you say, man, he ugly. Now, forgive me, Lord. I'm not calling nobody ugly, and I don't like to call nobody ugly. I ain't calling nobody ugly now, but understand I'm just using terminology that you be using, okay? I'm using terminology that you use, okay? But typically, think about this from middle school to high school, college, whatever. The uglier you thought that man was, you just assume the tougher he is. Whereas you see a guy who you may say, it's certain guys that I've heard women say, he's beautiful. You don't assume that man that you said is handsome, gorgeous, beautiful. You don't assume he's tough. You don't assume he's tough. But when you see this guy coming and he look like a gorilla, you like, boy, don't mess with him. That boy look like he will smash somebody in half. And the one who look like a gorilla might actually be soft as cotton candy in hot sun on a rainy day. He might be the just gentlest man you'll ever meet in your life. And then the one that you think look soft as the end of a Q-tip might be the deadliest man you'll ever meet in your life. You see what I mean? So we misjudge people by the outward appearance, whether it's genetics or whether it's what they put on. And that's what I began to understand as I began to study masculinity and see how men will hide. They will hide their insecurity and their weakness and their fear by putting on the facade of being confident, full of swag, full of charisma, full of, strength and what you call that, machismo and bravado, all those autos that y'all like to use. So they'll come and say whatever it takes to show that. And it shows up in different ways. But very rarely do you see men go against the grain and look the opposite of what is said to be tough and just walk in their natural strength and their natural confidence and not try to put on. Very rarely do you see that. That a man who is comfortable in his own skin without trying to front, flex, or have a facade. And that is why so many women get hurt, because you choose a man who to you looks strong, swaggy, and confident. But what you don't realize, all of that is to mask pain and insecurity. And then the man who can be gentle with you, who doesn't want to argue with you, who doesn't want to put his foot on your neck, who doesn't want to cheat on you, lie to you, use you, and abuse you, a man who doesn't want to do all of that, you say, oh, he's soft, he's a pushover, because you could tell him what to do and he listens to you and he takes your suggestion. You want the man that's going to look at you and say, woman, shut up, I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me what to do, I'm a man. You actually want that. You say you don't want it, but that's what you end up with because you're lying. That's actually what you want. And so then, and I've heard this from all kind of women, all ages, all races, all levels of education. I just can't deal with a man that I just could run all over. You're not running all over him. He just know his strength. You're not finna be punching him in the mouth. You're not finna be giving him wedges every day. He just knows his strength. He don't have anything to prove to you because he could squash you like a bug if he wanted to. So he don't have that to prove to you. But see, what happened is, women, you go after these swaggerlicious men, and then next thing you know, and then you want to be sitting there confused. And you but that's what you chose because you were attracted to his bravado, to that machismo, to that, false confidence that he walked around with when he was hiding an insecure little boy on the inside. But see, the man who is truly confident, he don't have to try to step on nobody's toes. Like, he don't have to try to be rude and mean and nasty, condescending to men or women. He speaks up and defends himself when he needs to. But he ain't just walking around trying to punk people and impose his will and come in the room looking all mean and tough. He come in and you will misjudge him. And that's what happened with me a lot of times in business. After I learned what a real man was and realized that I don't have to be mean and nasty, I go in business and I listen to people and I listen to them and they'll think that their sales pitch is working. And then when I shut them down, and then when I keep shutting them down, they confused. Or they try to play me like a fool just because I was just like, And then they try to scam me or give me some crazy outrageous price and I got to call them out. Then they got to get offended. Oh no, I don't never do that. I don't do bad business. I would never try to cheat you. And that's exactly what they was doing. But because I didn't come in with that bravado and that machismo and all that attitude like a fake tough guy does, they assumed that I was a duck, that I was a deer in the headlights, and that they could take advantage, that they could get over. And then when I check them on it, they're like, oh, I'm dealing with a real man here. Oh yeah, you tried to play me like a fool and now you done played yourself. So it's best to walk in integrity and be who you know you're supposed to be instead of trying to read people by outward, appearance or how they approach you or how they shake your hand and talk to you. And instead of trying to read them like that, just operate from your heart. So for women watching this, think about it. It's like, how do you want to be treated? Do you want to be treated like a queen? Do you want a man that's going to be faithful? Do you want a man that's going to love and respect you? If that's the case, then he's not going to he's not going to come off to you all tough and swaggy and be rude or condescending or snapping at you. He's not going to do that. But when a guy does that, it's a lot of women that secretly turns them on. When he snap, when he get mad, when he get loud, it secretly turns on a lot of women. And it make women say, and I've had guys tell me guys who have a lot of experience with women. I'm talking about slept with 1,000 or more women. Them guys, I've had guys like that tell me, man, woman like you to control her. Man, woman like you to tell her what to do. Man, woman like you, just girl, Give me that. And I'm like, and you know what? They're not lying. Because I was like that in my life. And it was crazy how it would work. To where on the first day, you just tell a woman, hey, I want me some of that. And you say the nasty word for it. And they're like, oh really? Well, come get it. Whereas she's supposed to be like, what? Who you talking to? What you take me for? Get out my face. Slam the door in your face. You would expect that. But it was more women that'll be like, oh, really? Come get it. And then you have women saying, oh, I just want a man to be honest with me and just tell me what he want because I might want the same thing. If you don't sit your loose booty behind down somewhere for you be walking around with HIV talking about you wish he'll tell you what he want because you might want the same. Woman, if you don't go get you a bottle of olive oil and get at the foot of the cross, what the world are you talking about? You're going to have 10 kids from 10 different men and have every disease that the devil concocted in his lab talking about, I wish a man would just be real with me and just tell me what he want because I might want the same thing. I can't tell you how many women I done heard say that. I can't tell you how many women I done seen show and prove that. You're nasty. You're lost. You're hurting. And you need to get your life together. That's nasty. You got all kind of bacteria brewing in you. Get yourself together. That's not cute. That's not cute. You ain't sexy and sassy just because you gonna get on your bike on the first date just because a man bold enough to tell you that's what he want. That ain't cute. You need to deal with that childhood trauma that you dealing with, that you running from. You need to confront that. That's not cute. Now let me tell you on the other side of this here thing. Is you see these here movements out here of these men, and I ain't gonna say the term because I don't know if them terms is not to be used on here. But you see these movements online. Y'all know the term. You don't even have to put in the comment. We all know the terms. But you see these movements on YouTube of this type of men. That's men going their own way, and they got the acronym for that, And these other men with the different color pills. Okay, we ain't gonna say the exact what it is, but you know what I'm talking about. Now let me help you understand those type of men. Those men are actually the nice guys who knew their worth and knew their strength. Those men are actually the guys that used to be Clark Kent, that used to be Peter Parker. But they kept running into women who judge a man by his outward appearance and by him being boisterous and having a false confidence. And because those men were being caring and loving and kind to women and being gentle with women, but not understanding that just how a lot of these men have not been raised, a lot of these women have not been raised. So women can't recognize a good man if he spit in her face. If he stomped on her big toe, she wouldn't recognize a good man. It's a lot of these women. There's a good man be sitting there staring you right in your face. So close to you, you could smell his breath, the dinner on his breath from 2 days ago. That's how close he is to you, and you won't even know it. But a bad man could be a mile away, and you got a radar that'll pick him up, and he'll levitate in the air and be glowing and come to you. You pull a bad man from a mile away and walk by 50 good men talking about, I'm looking for my husband. You're not looking for your husband. You're looking for approval. You're looking for somebody that you think sexy and swaggy, that if they get with you, gonna elevate your stock. You want other women to look at your man and be jealous that you got him because you think you got something special. And 9 or 10 times you got you a grown boy that don't know left from right, don't know who he is, and gonna be going upside your head. But because you don't know men, because you have not really listened about fragile masculinity and fragile egos, you misjudge a man and you give him credit that he does not deserve. So now you think he tough and you like security. But what is security? Secure yourself. Be secured in the Lord. All you need from a man is love. All you should need from a man is love. You hear me? You worry about money, and we don't live in no war zone, so you don't need no big, tall, muscular bound, muscle neck man. What he gonna? Y'all not fighting? He ain't finna be fighting in Walmart over you. Like, that's how silly y'all sound when you think, oh, I need a man over 6 foot, cause I can't be with a man under 6 foot, cause that just make me feel like I'm the man. So since when height got to do anything with a man being a man? And since when muscles got to do anything with a man being a man? Because I'm going to tell you like this right here. If I meet a man and he want to fight, and he look too big and strong for me, I got something for him. I don't care how big that chest is. You ain't finna stop that hot lead. You hear me? So listen to me. All that right there don't matter. Because anybody could get laid down. So what you need is a man who know who he is. And he knows how to treat a woman. He might be 5'8". He might be just as skinny as the neck of a bottle. You hear me? He might be built like this. Or he might be built like this. You hear me? But he knows who he is and he knows how to treat a woman. And so now let me tell you what I'm telling about these men with these movements online. And they won't tell you this. Now these men, some of them were actually soft and scared. Okay? But the reason why they went that way is from the damage that women did to them. Because they kept trying to go get this woman. And what happened is 1, 2, 3 times. For some of them, it happened one time. In high school, could have been middle school. But a lot of these men in these movements, it didn't happen 2 or 3 times where they went to get a woman that they thought was beautiful. Got the woman. And then the woman ended up cheating on him with a man that's bigger, taller, and stronger. A man that's most swaggerlicious. A man that may have all the tattoos or all the jewelry or the flashy car. The man probably had a P for a brain. P-E-A. Like a little P. Like a little sweet pea. The man probably had a P for a brain. But because he had the tattoos and the swagger, she went and slept with him. While she had this man over here who was trying to love her down, trying to love her right, treat her like a queen. But she called that soft because he gave her a voice. He let her have her voice. He let her call her shots. He validated her mind. He let her operate in her excellence. She called that soft. She called that weak. She called him a pushover. So then she go and get with the bad boy. Now she can't stop crying. He putting hands on her. He cheating on her. He cussing her, talking to her like trash, like a dog. And she sitting over there. Yeah, you got your bad boy. Yeah, you were looking for a bad boy. You found him. And guess what? He's still looking for himself too. So this is what I need you to understand about this fragile masculinity. About this male ego. This is what I need you to understand, that this thing is real. Okay, this thing real, this thing dangerous. And when you see these men, and that's why I say, we all make mistakes. But when a man comes into the knowledge, he'll stop making those mistakes. So, I got tattoos. That's why I don't judge men with tattoos. But once he crosses a certain age, if he's still getting tattooed, now I know where he operating from. Once he really come into adulthood, he passed 25 or he passed 30 and he's still getting tattoos. Okay, now I know something going on. Because when you really think about it, it don't make sense to get permanent ink on your skin that you got to look at when you 80 years old. It just don't make sense. It don't make sense when you could go get a canvas and paint on it. It just don't make sense. So we doing it for a reason. A lot of people don't want to admit the reason. Oh, that's because my grandma died. It ain't that many people in your family died for you to have 69 tattoos. So why else are you doing that? Okay. And the same reason why we go get earrings. Same reason why every man growing a beard. You know, I really don't like no beard. I got a beard right now because we on this here situation, this here lockdown. And I'll be honest with you, ain't nothing I can do about it. But I ain't finna be trying to cut it and trim it myself. But I might grow me a little beard, see how I look. Okay, with it on. But I'm already married. So it ain't, for me, ain't about trying to be in bearded man, the beard club and all this to look good on Instagram. Because I don't take selfies. So you go to my Instagram, you ain't gonna say me posting no selfies. I don't do that. All right. The same reason why if I see a man working out extremely hard, it's something there. Because the average man who knows who he is and he's confident in himself, he gonna work out enough for his health. When the man start going to where he just trying to be all this and all this here abs and all this here, he ain't got now sport to play. He ain't got now competition, body competition to get into. But you just trying to get big as all outdoor with all these abs for what? Because that also sends a message. It sends a message to men, don't mess with me. And the man might not be gifted with his hands at all. You probably could look at him and knock him out. But he all them muscles, he trying to tell men, don't mess with me. And he trying to tell women, desire me. Now, I'm going to get my body back. But you know I'm going to get my body back for my wife. Because she need a boost in her, you know, estrogen or whatever it is when she look at me. I want her to look at me and want to lick her lips. So that's why I'm going to do it. But it's a lot of men that's doing that for the wrong reasons. So see, what you got to do is you're going to have to dig a little deeper with these men. You're going to have to look into that childhood. You're going to have to get to the root of who they really are. And you're going to have to see why they did what they did. And that's why, I'm going to tell you what happened. That's why you see some men who were soft and quiet and kind as a youth. Then they grow up to be a gang member. But then once they get in the gang and they done got their stripes and they done put some people in the grave, then you'll see them do an about face. That means turn around. A 180. You'll see them do a 180 and start talking about we need peace in the streets and we need to come together and we need to stop all this senseless killing. We need to stop out doing all this and we need to come together and we need to put down the red and the blue and all that. And he go to getting on that. The reason why he on that, because that's who he really is. He not a thug. He did that for acceptance. He did that out of fear. He did that to try to fit in so that he wouldn't be eaten alive. But now that he done got in there and got some stripes, he literally had to take lives just to get some respect so that now he could be who he truly is, which is a peacemaker, which is a lover, not a fighter. You see what I mean? That's why you see that happen. Now, the men who really about their life, they ain't never talking about no peace. They ain't never talking about no peace. They ain't trying to nothing. They want to stay in war. You hear me? And so it's different types of men. It's different types of men, and you got to understand that if you looking for a bad boy, he's still looking for himself too. Hey, this is Tony Gas, and God bless you. Thank you for your time. We'll talk soon.